Time to go over this terrible shit. So, the Supreme Court in the birthright citizenship case limits judges' uses of nationwide injunctions. So, obviously, we've talked about this before, but this is stemming from the fact that Donald Trump tried to sign an executive order to end birthright citizenship, which is a right given within the Constitution. Boy Meets Mini, which amendment of the Constitution is this in? I don't remember exactly. Was it the Fourth Amendment? I think. I'm trying to remember. I think it's the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution that guarantees like birthright fucking citizenship. 14th. Thank you, Alex. So it's the 14th Amendment. There was a 4 in there, okay? Close enough. Whatever. Yeah, 14th Amendment. Donald Trump tried to put an executive order to essentially, sort of get rid of that particular amendment, which is, you can't do that. That's not how that works. Obviously, with more so the goal of trying to go after judges' uses of the lower courts of nationwide injunctions. So, what does this basically mean? An injunction can be issued by a judge of a federal court, like one of the lower appeals courts, for example, in order to basically say, like, hey, I'm issuing an injunction on this clearly illegal fucking thing in order for you to stop doing those fucking, illegal things, right? This has been constantly used against a lot of Trump's attempted fucking deportations of, immigrants and also U.S. fucking citizens, because guess what? Donald Trump is just trying to get rid of these people without giving them due process or habeas corpus or any like particular grounds or anything for their deportation, because he's got a fucking quota. Stephen Miller's got his little fucking Gestapo fucking goddamn quota system where he wants to ship off a bunch of people to a prison gulag in like fucking El Salvador, because Trump and Nayib Bukele have like a fucking quid pro quo to send like prison slave labor to, El Salvador, basically. So, the Supreme Court has now ruled that judges have limited use in terms of nationwide injunctions. So, guess what? It's going to be a lot harder for them to stop a lot of the illegal actions of the executive branch. Quite literally, the Supreme Court has just, affected their own fucking power. But, what do we got here? The Supreme Court on Friday limited the use of nationwide injunctions, reining in federal judges' abilities to issue sweeping orders that have, in recent years, stymied implementation of policies from Republican and Democratic presidential administrations alike. Yeah, the problem is if they're doing what they're doing is fucking illegal and bad, the goddamn courts can just be like, whoa. This is us doing our sort of like duty as one of the co-equal branches of the government, keeping you fucking people in check. But whatever. If it is particularly egregious for whatever certain reasons, sure, whatever. The problem is I would argue most of the fucking things that the lower courts have been reining Trump in on have not been fucking legal and not fucking ridiculous. Because we know, Joe Biden tried to pass, student debt relief. It got fucking stopped by the Supreme Court, and then it went to the fucking appeals court. It got fucking all, litigated in there. There was injunctions there, which stopped the fucking goddamn legislation from being put through, of course. Because, again, guess who holds most of the federal student debt in the country? Oh, it's the federal government. Oh. So they can cancel that if they want, because it's their fucking money, and just be like, yeah, we can just get rid of that debt. We can just get rid of it if we want to. That's like a case of where the injunction system can be poorly fucking used, is the stopping of the student debt crisis that still exists in the United States of America. But, a lot of the things that nationwide injunctions have been used so far against the Trump administration is to stop, illegal shit like just randomly fucking deporting people. But, in a widely anticipated decision stemming from the president's executive order seeking to end birthright citizenship, the High Court said that universal orders likely exceed the equitable authority that Congress has granted to the federal courts. Justice Amy Coney Barrett authored the majority opinion for the 6-3 court, with the liberal justice in dissent. Of course, as expected. The court granted the Trump administration a request to narrow the reach of the injunctions blocking the president's executive order while proceedings move forward, but only to the extent that the injunctions are broader than necessary to provide complete relief to plaintiffs who could sue, Barrett wrote. So basically, the Trump administration's argument was basically that, you may cause financial damages to the fucking federal government if you don't let us go through with any of this bullshit. So basically, he's trying to make it such that you need to pony up the fucking cash if the federal government decides to do something that's bad to you. Like, quite literally. This is like such a simplifying of the telling of this particular case. But yeah, dude, individuals are going to buy fucking treasury bonds in order to make sure that they are able to fucking pay for the abuses the federal government does to them, even though the federal government has like essentially access to infinite amount of resources to pursue fucking cases against them. It's fucking stupid. The justices does not address the question of whether Mr. Trump's order is constitutional, and the administration has said agencies have 30 days to issue public guidance about implementation of the policy, allowing time for more challenges to be filed. Some say the universal injunction gives the judiciary a powerful tool to check the executive branch, but federal courts do not exercise general oversight of the executive branch. They resolve cases and controversies consistent with the authority Congress has given them, Barrett wrote. Yeah, sure, but the problem is what Trump is doing in compare like with the reason as to why he's the basis of as to why he's going ahead with all these like federal fucking goddamn actions in order to fucking deport people. It is unconstitutional. It is illegal what he is doing. And even like representatives and lawyers from the fucking goddamn administration has said whatever, dude. We're just doing this because we've been told to do this. We don't actually think like what we're doing is probably legal or whatever. Like, who the fuck cares? We've just been told to fucking defend this shit. So whatever, we're just defending it. And it's actually fucking insane. When a court concludes that the executive branch has acted unlawfully, the answer is not for the court to exceed its power too. That is actually fucking insane that the Supreme Court is basically saying like, we're just going to relinquish some of our fucking power for like no fucking reason, because it's the Supreme Court can also issue fucking injunctions as well. This probably does not fucking affect the Supreme Court's ability to put fucking nationwide injunctions, but whatever, dude. Yeah, totally. This is totally going to be like used in like a particular manner that, you know, is going to be fucking efficacious. I know that like Donald Trump did like a press conference saying like, yeah, the Supreme Court gave me something great, fantastic, a great ruling by the Supreme Court. He was like soying the fuck out over this, but you know, whatever, as expected from these like dumbasses saying like, yeah, dude, like, you know, if the executive just wants to do whatever and the courts say that it's illegal, well, they can't fucking enforce any of that shit anymore. So that's cool. That's fantastic. In her dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor accused the majority of abdicating its role in protecting the rule of law. She read portions of her dissenting opinion from the bench. With the stroke of a pen, the president has made a solemn mockery of our Constitution, she wrote. Rather than stand firm, the court gives way. Couldn't have really said it any better myself. At a White House press conference following the decision, Mr. Trump praised it as a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and rule of law, even though, like, literally you're just using this as a way to abuse the fucking rule of law and not give a fuck about the rule of law, which your lawyers have even said before is abuses of the rule of law. It's actually incredible. It's fucking clown shoe shit that we're dealing with here. So, universal injunctions and the birthright citizenship case. The court's ruling came in a trio of emergency appeals by the Trump administration arising out of the president's executive order seeking to end the 14th Amendment's guarantee of birthright citizenship, which means that everyone born in the U.S. is a citizen, regardless of their parents' immigration status. The Justice Department had asked the Supreme Court to narrow the scope of the three separate injunctions that blocked implementation of Mr. Trump's policy nationwide, while legal challenges brought by 22 states, immigrants' rights groups, and 7 individuals moved forward. So I guess pretty much at this point, all these fucking court proceedings need to play out, and maybe this like shit gets completely like turned over or some shit based off of that. It's whatever, complete fucking nonsense of a country. Bullshit can just fucking happen at this point. But instead of swiftly deciding whether to grant the Trump administration emergency relief, the Supreme Court held arguments on whether to restrict the use of nationwide or universal injunctions. There's the comma there, it's kind of weird. Which are judicial orders that prevent the government from enforcing a policy where in the country and against anyone, including individuals that are not involved in litigation before them. Let me see that again. Okay. are judicial orders that prevent the government from enforcing a policy anywhere in the country and against anyone, including individuals who are not involved in litigation before them. Oh, okay. So basically, what this is saying is, hey, all those people that the Trump administration is randomly blackbagging and not allowing them to have any due process rights or anything, or any of the things that are guaranteed to them in the Constitution, well, we are issuing injunctions in order to stop this fucking behavior because, again, this behavior is explicitly fucking illegal. The Trump administration is not allowed to, well, do any of this stuff because it is explicitly goes against the duty of the president, and that is to help, well, uphold the fucking Constitution. But again, does Trump give a fuck about any of that stuff? No. No, he doesn't give a shit about any of that. The dispute over the president's attempt to unwind birthright citizenship has become intertwined with the administration's battle against nationwide injunctions. Yeah, because that's what it's actually about. He doesn't like the fact that the judiciary is stopping him from doing, well, the bullshit that he's trying to do with deporting a bunch of people illegally. These sweeping orders have frustrated both Democrat and Republican presidents seeking to implement their agendas among gridlock in Congress, and the fight over them has been simmering for several years. The Congressional Research Service identified 86 nationwide injunctions that were issued during Mr. Trump's first term and 28 granted while former President Joe Biden was in office. Well, does that mean the student loan debt might actually go through because of this? That's so fucking funny. I don't think it was a nationwide injunction. I think that just basically got struck down by the Supreme Court. In Mr. Trump's second term, the Congressional Research Service found 17 nationwide injunctions were issued during the first 100 days, though the Trump administration estimated last month that there have been far more, at least 40 of those orders, most coming from the same five judicial districts. Damn, maybe what you should be doing is not doing illegal stuff within those judicial districts. Let me guess, it's from New Jersey, California. Where else is like Trump running around in rounding up fucking immigrants, right? Like where else? Maybe like Chicago and stuff like that, who all have their own judicial districts and stuff like that. Yeah, very, very cool. And the judges are saying like, yeah, what you're doing here is fucking illegal. This is against the fucking Constitution. You can like fuck off with this bullshit. Like, go away. Stop it. Some of the justices have suggested in past writings that the Supreme Court would have to clarify whether nationwide injunctions are allowed at all. And members on both ideological sides of the bench have been critical of them. The president and his allies have attacked judges for issuing nationwide injunctions in the slew of legal challenges to Mr. Trump's policy, and even called for some of them to be impeached, which, he can't do, but whatever. The president's birthright citizenship order was one of the first that he signed on his first day back in office. While the 14th Amendment has far more than a century been understood to guarantee citizenship to all people born in the U.S., Mr. Trump's order denied birthright citizenship to children born to a mother who is unlawfully present in the U.S. or is lawfully present on a temporary basis, or whose father is neither a citizen nor a lawful permanent resident. Which, fucking ridiculous that he's fucking doing this. Obviously, like, if you are, like, every other, like, a ton of other fucking countries have birthright fucking citizenship. If there needs to be, like, a particular process that has to be gone through, okay, that can be, like, fucking quibbled about. But, like, dude, if you are born on the fucking soil of a goddamn country, guess what? You become a fucking citizen of that country. It makes perfect fucking sense. But again, like, the only reason why he's doing this is because he's a dumb fuck racist. Like, that's, like, literally the only reason. He just wants to do everything possible in order to get rid of more fucking immigrants because he's just a dumbass racist and he barely understands how the economy works. So, whatever. The president directed federal agencies to stop issuing documents recognizing U.S. citizenship to children in those categories born after February 19th, which, I mean, he can't do. More than half a dozen lawsuits challenging the measure were filed before it took effect, and 3 federal district courts in Washington, Maryland, and Massachusetts each blocked the government from implementing the order. Federal appeals courts in California, Massachusetts, and Virginia then refused requests by the Trump administration to partially block the lower court's orders. Yeah, because what he's doing is against the Constitution, which he is supposed to uphold and, well, help enforce as as the fucking president, as the office of the president. But, he doesn't give a fuck about any of that stuff. The Justice Department filed emergency appeals of the 3 decisions within the Supreme Court in mid-March and asked it to limit enforcement of the birthright citizenship order to 28 states and individuals who are not involved in the cases. The administration said the Supreme Court should, at a minimum, allow agencies to develop and issue public guidance while proceedings continue, and took aim at the breadth of the injunctions issued by the district courts. Government lawyers said in a filing that universal injunctions have reached epidemic proportions since Mr. Trump returned to the White House in January. Damn, sucks to suck. Maybe he shouldn't be doing so much fucking illegal shit. Then maybe there wouldn't be as many an epidemic proportion of fucking goddamn nationwide injunctions being issued by the lower courts, because you keep doing illegal stuff that even the courts have argued and said, like, yeah, this is just like blatantly illegal. No due process rights for these fucking immigrants that you're trying to deport. No fucking habeas corpus. You're not giving them any fucking reason. So, like, why the fuck should we bother any of this? We are a nation of laws. These are things guaranteed to people within the fucking Constitution. We've talked about this before. Within the 14th Amendment itself, it says persons have these protections in the Constitution. If it is a person on the soil of that fucking goddamn country, that being the US, they have protections, those same protections that the Constitution guarantees to them. Whoa, crazy. So guess what? Those non-citizen fucking immigrants and fucking permanent fucking residents have the exact same constitutional fucking protections. And I wonder why that got fucking implemented. Because of a funny little thing called the 3/5 compromise. The 14th Amendment was a way around that fucking goddamn compromise to be like, yeah, well, that thing is basically completely fucking irrelevant because of the 14th Amendment. So, you know, but does the Trump care about, like, the Constitution? No. Those injunctions thwart the executive branch's crucial policies on matters ranging from border security to international relations to national security to military readiness. Solicitor General D. John Sauer wrote, oh, that fucking complete moron. They repeatedly disrupt the operations of the executive branch up to the cabinet level. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, dude, because military readiness is being disrupted by the federal court's goddamn injunctions saying, like, yeah, dude, you can't just randomly fucking deport people. We are a nation of laws. You should just stop doing that stuff. Yeah, military fucking readiness. Yeah, sure, man. The only reason why they're saying it like this is because they tried to deport Mahmoud Khalil based off of, like, he's a threat to fucking American foreign policy. Yeah, sure, man, totally. But the plaintiffs in the cases urged the Supreme Court to leave the district court orders in place. In a filing of their own, officials from 18 states, the District of Columbia, and San Francisco called the Trump administration's request remarkable, since it would allow the government to strip hundreds of thousands of American-born children of their citizenship while the legal challenges move forward and render them deportable on birth and at risk of statelessness. Yeah, we've talked about this fucking thing before. If birthright citizenship does end, the people that are like the fetuses in the fucking goddamn wombs of those women that are going to be fucking born do not have any fucking rights. They could just be immediately fucking deported as soon as they pop out of the fucking goddamn womb. It's just like, yeah, literally, immigrant mother goes to have a fucking birth. ICE agents are immediately ready to claim the baby and just, like, throw it in a fucking river somewhere in, like, Mexico or something. It's fucking ridiculous. The states argued that the Trump administration seeks to violate binding Supreme Court precedent that recognized birthright citizenship is guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. The court's decision. Writing for the majority, Barrett looked to the nation's history and said that the nationwide injunctions were conspicuously non-existent in the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. What? What the fuck does that even mean? Wait, why does that fucking matter? Oh, maybe because the fucking presidents back during those times weren't doing as much illegal shit against the fucking Constitution. What do you mean? What do you mean conspicuously non-existent? Whoa, it's not my fucking problem that a lot of the actions from the presidents of the 21st century have been illegal in terms of the fucking goddamn Constitution. Like what do you mean? It's so fucking stupid, man. It's actually ridiculous. If federal courts had such a tool, she said, surely they would have not let it lay idle. When did the courts gain the ability to use nationwide injunctions? I'm curious. When did federal courts gain the power to issue nationwide injunctions? Judiciary Act of 1789. Writs of Memdamus. When did they get the ability to do this? First 175 years. So for the first 175 years of the Republic, courts typically did not enjoin defendants with respect to non-parties, especially if that defendant was the federal government. Some scholars have estimated that American federal courts issued a dozen nationwide injunctions during this time, while others have estimated that American federal courts issued 0 nationwide injunctions during this time. In the 19th century, courts occasionally enjoined a municipality or a county from enforcing a challenged tax or ordinance against non-parties. This was considered an extension of the Bill of Peace, because it resolved a common claim by a small and cohesive group. The Supreme Court, Frothingham v. Mellon, 1923, said this type of suit was justified by the theory that citizens of a county or municipality have a relationship comparable to that of shareholders to a corporation. Also, like, let's be honest here, the people who are probably more so in probably judges during the time of, like, I don't know, like Jim Crow and apartheid, like not apartheid, like probably like Jim Crow and segregation stuff, are probably like sympathetic to like racist fucking policies. That's also a fucking possibility, right? One explanation for the lack of nationwide injunctions is that the federal government itself waived its sovereign immunity from suit in 1976. Huh. Well, that's a little interesting. While another is that venue and personal jurisdiction rules for a long time reached litigants for suing cabinet officials outside of Washington, D.C. when seeking injunctions. Well, that's a little interesting. The government itself waived its sovereign immunity, so guess what? It's more easier to fuck... Yeah, because they could have argued before that they have sovereign immunity from the fucking goddamn injunctions. When they used to claim before that they had sovereign fucking immunity... Maybe that might explain it there, Amy Coney Barrett. That's a little interesting. Nothing like a universal injunction was available at the founding, or for that matter, for more than a century thereafter. Thus, under the Judiciary Act, federal courts lack authority to issue them, she wrote. Oh, so basically she's going to argue because it wasn't written in the fucking Judiciary Act of 1789. Therefore, like, well, they never really had this ability. But then, again, like, if the federal government itself is waiving its sovereign fucking immunity from, like, lawsuit and nationwide injunction, then that gives the fucking court the power in order to be able to do stuff like nationwide fucking injunctions. It's just, like, a procedural thing that bore out because of, like, well, the government itself saying, like, well, you know, we don't actually have sovereign fucking immunity, so that's cool. That's great, fantastic. I don't know, skill issue. Maybe the federal government should have kept that power of sovereign fucking immunity from nationwide injunctions if they didn't want courts to issue nationwide injunctions on them. I don't know, skill issue. I'm chalking that one up to skill issue. In her dissent, Sotomayor warned that the Supreme Court's new regime puts all manner of constitutional rights at risk and renders them meaningful in name only for people who are not parties to a lawsuit. Today, the threat is birthright citizenship, she wrote. Tomorrow, a different administration may try to seize firearms from law-abiding citizens or prevent people of certain faiths from gathering to worship. That's a pretty good fucking way to appeal to this and the argument that Sotomayor is saying here. This is very, very fucking true. If a Democratic fucking president wanted to say, for example, have a nationwide banning of guns, they can just appeal to this fucking ruling saying, like, what do you mean? Yeah, I can just do this. Like, fuck you. You can't issue a fucking nationwide fucking injunction. If I just want to do this, yeah, fuck you. Yellow swag. We don't like guns. They cause a lot of harm to people. Or, like, if fucking Republicans want to say, like, fuck them Muslim man. Yeah, time to ban guns, right? Time to ban evangelical Christianity. Time to ban the worship of Islam. Time to ban all these fucking bullshit. It's silly. By the way, the Supreme Court didn't have the power to render laws unconstitutional at the founding. Lol. That's so fucking funny. Oh my god. Yeah, because it's like what? She's like a constitutional fucking originalist, right? She's one of those like originalist fucking dumb fucks. Hey, Amy Coney Barrett, like, what do you have to say about what do you think the founding fathers would have to say about you fucking issuing a particular ruling like that? I don't think they'd be big fans of it in particular. Sotomayor accused the court's conservative majority of ignoring whether Mr. Trump's plan to end birthright citizenship is constitutional and said its patent unlawfulness underscores why universal injunctions are appropriate remedies. Right, because again, it's supposed to be like a way, like, because again, if the judiciary wants to just do complete random fucking bullshit, they can try to do complete random bullshit. It's the judiciary's sort of point to be there and just say, like, hey, actually, don't fucking do that because it's just illegal. You can't do that. It's against the law. I feel like a lot of this is also like these sort of like broad fucking consequences of, a lot more fucking power being concentrated into the executive branch that was catalyzed by Obama, for example. Like, okay, I'm curious. How many nationwide injunctions were there during the Bush presidency? I'm curious. Six nationwide injunctions under the fucking second Bush administration. 12 under Obama. And guess what happened under Obama? More and more power was concentrated into the executive. 64 under the first Trump administration. Damn, maybe he shouldn't have done so much illegal shit that was against the Constitution. And then maybe there wouldn't be as many of them. 14 nationwide injunctions in the first 3 years of Joe Biden's administration, according to the article. Hey, maybe, just maybe, Donald Trump shouldn't be doing so much fucking illegal bullshit, and then there won't be as many nationwide fucking injunctions against him. It's just some food for thought, some just a little bit of food. While the High Court agreed to grant Mr. Trump's request for a partial stay of the injunctions, Barrett wrote that there are still issues for the lower courts to decide, including whether narrower relief is appropriate. The Supreme Court's decision still allows plaintiffs challenging a policy to file a class action lawsuits and seek certification of a nationwide class. In her dissent, Sotomayor urged individuals who may be impacted by Mr. Trump's birthright citizenship plan, as well as lower courts, to move swiftly. The parents of children covered by the citizenship order would be well advised to file promptly class action suits and to request temporary injunctive relief for the putative class pending class certification, she wrote. For suits challenging policies as blatantly unlawful and harmful as the citizenship order, moreover, lower courts would be wise to act swiftly on such requests for relief and to adjudicate the cases as quickly as they can, so as to enable this court's prompt review. Well, that's true. So basically what she's saying here is like, dude, send as much fucking shit as possible, so then we're forced to goddamn have to litigate through all of this bullshit, right? Just fucking send it. Send it so that we're forced to fucking litigate this in order to make this a complete fucking goddamn legal quagmire. On the heels of the Supreme Court's decision, CASA, one of the groups that challenged the order, asked the federal district court to allow its lawsuit to proceed on a class-wide basis and certify as a class all children who have been born and will be born in the United States or after February 19th, 2025, who are designated by Executive Order 14,160 to be ineligible for birthright citizenship, and their parents. Yeah, listen. Yeah, this is what you do. Anyone who's a fucking immigrant, everybody, fucking send in the class action lawsuits. Just send in fucking fuckloads of them. Hundreds of them. Just fucking flood the fucking airwaves. Fucking keep sending them. Force the fucking Supreme Court to have to go through all of this fucking bullshit, right? So then they keep having to fucking litigate all this nonsense instead of having to enforce this stupid fucking goddamn ruling. Just keep going. Just fuck it. Just a full send. Full fucking send. Right? That's pretty much the fucking plan here. Just to make it a complete fucking legal quagmire. Because guess what? It's not like this fucking executive order is not going to cause a complete fucking legal quagmire. But, I've talked about this before. The only reason why Trump wants to do this and wants to limit the judiciary's ability to enforce these like nationwide injunctions is just for the express purpose of being able to deport more people. That's the whole point of this. That's why he wants to do it. Because again, him and his little Gestapo buddies just want to deport as many fucking people as possible and make people suffer. Like, I don't think it really gets any more simple than that, to be honest, right? He wants to deport people. He doesn't give a fuck about any of these people. He wants to deport them all to a prison slave labor camp out in fucking El Salvador. That's it. And the federal judiciary has been one of the main sort of like, institutions that have been getting in the way of this, because what Trump is doing is blatantly fucking illegal. Because again, this is a motherfucker who could care less about the rule of law. He's a felon, keep in mind. He's been fucking indicted on 34 fucking federal counts of, business fraud. So, it shouldn't be any fucking surprise in particular that this is also the same dude who, crazy, wants to do a bunch of illegal fucking bullshit in order to, secure more power for himself so he can keep doing all the illegal nonsense that he wants to do. To be honest, I don't think it really gets any more simple than that. Now, does it?